I guess you do that.
Gunther, let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you describe your happiness meter?
Probably not 8, 9.
Okay?
That's good.
How would you describe the rest of the world?
Boy. A lot of third world countries out there.
Okay, let's say, how would you describe the rest of St. Louis?
Rest of St. Louis? Oh, probably about 5.
Okay. Folks, I'm gonna move on. I would like to spend more time with y'all, but I've got myself on a timer and I've gotta keep moving. So I love the conversation, but I'm gonna just move on to the next subject. Now, I'm going to, talk a little bit about lawyers. Now, let me remind you that I'm asking you to discuss your expectations, perceptions, preconceptions, bias, and opinions about lawyers. Sir, what have you heard about lawyers?
Actually, some of my best friends are lawyers. Okay, but I mean, there's the jokes about lawyers, you know, only good lawyer is a dead lawyer, and that kind of stuff. But actually, I mean, my college roommate, okay, my first roommate in college ended up being a lawyer and a very successful lawyer, litigator in Vegas, and he makes gobs of money.
Okay.
So, but I also know lawyers that just barely get by. Some people think, oh, if you're a lawyer, you're rich. That's just not true. So that's I mean, they're just like anybody else. They're just trying to do, most lawyers, and again, when I say most, there are bad lawyers out there. But most lawyers, I think, are just trying to do the right thing.
Who agrees with him? Now, a few years ago, there was a movie Jim Carrey was in. I can't remember the name of it.
Liar,
but-
liar, liar.
That's it. Liar, liar. Have any of you heard people describe lawyers as being liars?
All day.
Good liars.
All right.
Expensive liars.
So what do you think about that concept?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I think it's like any other industry or profession, there's good and bad. But I think the overarching issue for me is that I truly believe our judicial system is profoundly broken, and I feel sorry for anybody that's in it, that's on the family court side, if you're litigating whatever it is, it's horribly broken.
Okay, thank you. Zach, what do you think about that?
About what she said or what?
Yeah,
the rest?
what she's just said.
I mean, I partially agree. I think lawyers do what they have to do to win the case. You know, whether they believe, you know, if it's a defendant, whether they believe him or not. They use the law in their favor however they can.
Okay.
It's both good and bad. I mean, I do agree it's broken. But you know, when you need one, it's good to have one. So it goes both ways.
Now, it sounds like from the conversation, the only good lawyer is a dead lawyer, liar, liar. There's good ones, there's bad ones, that you all have some justifiable wariness about lawyers. Fair?
Yep.
Now, I'm not asking any of you to trust me because I've only been talking with you for about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. So it's too early for any of you to know anything about me to determine whether or not I'm worthy of your trust. Sound right? Fair? So what I'm asking is, will you all give me the opportunity to earn your trust? See, the way I look at my job in this case is I'm going to show you the facts to you as a teacher, and you'll come up with your own conclusions as to what the facts are, whether you're going to believe it or not. So will you all give me that chance to do that job as a teacher? Okay. Now, I'm going to move on into another subject. I'm going to ask you some questions about your expectations, your preconceptions, your bias, and your opinions about safety. Now, everybody came here today, I'm going to reset my timer. I'm going to spend 7 minutes on this. Everybody came here in a different manner. What kind of safety rules did you have to follow when you came here today?
Speed limit,
Signs,
traffic lights.
I'm sorry, Lucy?
Traffic lights.
Traffic lights. Anybody else?
signs,
Signs, what kind of signs?
like no parking signs, or, signs, no left turn, that kind of thing.
All right, everybody disagree with what these three people have said? Any disagreement with that? We all have to follow safety rules, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most important, how important is it that everybody follow safety rules? Does anybody here think it's less than a 10? So what are your expectations with regard to everyone in our community? Stores, on the streets, in hospitals. What are your expectations with regard to everybody following safety rules that they're responsible to follow?
They need to be at 100%.
Anybody else?
I'd like them to be at 100%, but I don't expect it.
Okay. Does anybody else expect people to be 100%,
I don't
to not follow safety rules?
He said he didn't expect any of that.
Okay.
No, I don't expect nothing in life. I don't work on expectations.
Okay. Sir, what do you do for a living?
I'm a cook.
And how did you get here tonight?
Give it
Yeah.
Uber.
Okay.
Oh,
Did you expect the Uber driver to run through every stop sign on the way here so he could get you dropped off here and get another fare?
I don't know, but I did tell him about 5:45 though.
Okay. Well, you expect your Uber driver to follow the traffic laws.
Yeah. Yes.
And why do you expect that?
Because I'm a guest in his car, and I would want him to not drive like he was by himself, like he just. Like, I don't want him to just drive like he by himself and he don't got nobody else to look out for. Like, look out for both of us.
Other than these two gentlemen, does anyone else expect people to not follow safety rules they're responsible for? I'm not asking you if you assume they will follow them. I'm asking you what are your expectations with regards to that?
I think sometimes you have to think for the other party. Sometimes when somebody doesn't have a signal, but you see their wheels turned, then you kind of assume that that person is making a turn in that direction, and they usually they are.
Okay.
But not necessarily they're going to put on their signal to alert everyone, unfortunately.
All right. Did anybody else have any other expectations about people following safety rules?
I think we expect everyone to try to follow them to the best of their ability.
Okay.
Obviously not 100%, that's.
I think you have to expect them, but you have to also look out for them too,
All
because
right.
they don't.
Now, what do you all expect with regard to store owners, with regard to floor safety? Do you have any expectations when you walk into a Schnucks? What do you expect?
I expect the store to be safe.
Anybody disagree with that? Why do we expect stores to be safe?
because I'm a klutz.
Because
Okay.
it's open to the public. She mentioned earlier that you
When you
welcome the
invite
entire
world,
community. Yeah.
Yeah, when you invite the world, you need to be world ready. You can't be like, oh, well, we didn't know, so.
Now, does anybody here know anybody who has been involved in a situation where the person, for one reason or another, was just blindsided and they fell down?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
My cousin, he felt the mall, but I think his case was a little bit different though. And one of my questions earlier, I was gonna ask, like, was it an employee that failed, because he was actually an employee, so his case was a little bit different, but.
Right. Now, do you all think you deserve a store to be safe when you go in it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why do you deserve it? Why do we, Gunther, why do you deserve it?
Well, because I'm paying,
Okay?
for one thing.
Anybody disagree with Gunther there? How about, would you all tolerate it if the store wasn't safe?
Wouldn't shop there, it wouldn't get my business.
Anybody else feel that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might tolerate it for a day, not knowing, and then I wouldn't go back. I'd be like, that place is just junky. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm not here.
Can anyone give us any examples of dangerous things you've seen in stores before?
It's not necessarily, you know, you got your rugs there, but tiles, missing tiles, tiles lifted up, wet floors.
When I was in college, a lady that I worked with at Grandpa Pigeons had a trimmer fall off the top shelf and hit her.
Anybody else ever hear of something like that happening?
Not that, but I know I have been in stores and I guess when they're stocking the stores, whether it's a grocery store or just like even a Target, and maybe the employee gets sidetracked, but they've got their merchandise on a cart in front of the aisle, and maybe you happen to need something that is in front of their cart. I mean, I think that's dangerous. I've had to kind of reach around sometimes to grab what I need if that is the case. Or I mean, if it looks like it's too heavy, I will find someone and just say, can you move that so I can get this detergent here or something?
Okay. Do you all expect shopkeepers to pay attention to unsafe floor conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody here,
Right.
do you deserve shopkeepers to pay attention to unsafe floor
Yeah.
conditions?
Yes.
Why is that important?
Because it's a liability if you fall.
Tell us more about that.
Because if you fall, first of all, if you fall, you're gonna basically hurt yourself. Okay, but if you fall, then it's their liability.
What's the worst thing that can happen if somebody falls?
Break their neck, die, fall through a plate glass window,
Become paralyzed.
become paralyzed.
A lot of
Die.
things.
That's gotta be the worst.
That's gotta be the worst, but yeah.
Okay.
Being safe is just good business.
Yeah.
And would you all tolerate it if you saw unsafe floor conditions?
No.
No.
What would you do about it? Would you go up and tell the person at the customer care center, look, clean up on aisle 6, or what would you do?
Report it.
If
If
they
they didn't do
report it,
anything,
sure.
leave.
Anybody just say, well, there's a spill, I didn't step in it, I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm in a hurry, I need to take care of business.
I think a lot of times the person that makes the spill or whatever, doesn't tell somebody to clean it up.
It's usually a
Or-
customer.
Yeah, if we don't care that they broke something or spilled something, just tell us so we can
But they,
fix it
They walk
before
away.
somebody else, comes along, because 2 or 3 more people may walk by and not tell you before you see it, or somebody gets hurt.
All right, thanks. I'm gonna keep moving. Now we're gonna talk about systems, and I'm gonna ask you to discuss your expectations, your preconceptions, your biases, and your opinions about systems. Who knows, or can anybody here define what a system failure is?
An SOP is set and it's not being followed up and done.
Okay, anybody else wanna say something about that?
They have a system, but like on Black Friday, that system kind of goes rip out the door when 99 people come in at one time. The system may be a little bit
gets overloaded.
failure. Yeah, it's made for people, but not, crazy.
Can anyone give us an example of a systems failure?
I think Black Friday, what
Black
she
Friday.
mentioned, when you see the stories on the news about people getting hurt, or there's, fist fights, or people are trampled, things like that.
But I have something to say to that. In the UK, when you see their Black Friday, everyone's in unison, walking in line, they get it right and properly right. Like, it's not a fiasco, people get what they need in an orderly fashion. Here, it's like a cattle class.
Just because people, the reason why
There's no order.
it happens is because people get, oh, I'm sorry, that you were the 10th caller and we were looking for number 9. It's like, you know, all this work we do to get what we want and then it doesn't come true.
Well, I'm talking about systems, that system that they have in the UK for Black Friday works, the system here for Black Friday sucks.
Right.
So is it the person that's at the UK or is it the person that's still in the States?
It's the system of the store.
Okay. Because I was at Menards and I thought they did a good job.
Good.
I don't go shopping on Black Friday, but I happened to this year, so I've only done it maybe twice my whole life. And the only thing I didn't like was that I got the wrong product and I had to go through the whole thing again. That I couldn't exchange it at the exchange.
But if you have a good system, it doesn't matter who's walking in the door. Like, I've heard scenarios, why would a pregnant woman shop on Black Friday? She should be allowed to,
Yeah.
but if the system didn't fail, she wouldn't get knocked over and hurt by, you know, greedy customers.
Oh,
I don't shop at Walmart because I don't like chaos.
you guys were talking about things that earlier about things being in the way, you know, I had to go get the laundry. Walmart's stocking all the time,
Yeah.
They are.
24/7.
24/7.
because they don't, the store don't close down. So it doesn't matter what time of the day, they're stocking. Unless they know it's a busy time, I think they probably don't. I think they have some rights.
I don't go there because I don't like chaos.
Well, I'm limited in time, so I need to move on. Does anybody here have any guidelines or rules that you have to follow at work?
Everybody.
What kind of rules do you have to follow?
Well, I'm a retired teacher, so currently not too many, if you know what I'm saying. But when I was teaching, we had all sorts of rules. I mean, it was endless. I mean, it dealt with, we had equipment put into the gym, pushed it over to a wall, it's a high jump pit, and some kid took it upon themselves to move the high jump pit closer to the rail so they could jump off the rail onto the high jump pit. You know. So obviously, after you see that, you have to take precautions so that doesn't happen again. It was like, well, where do you want done with the high jump? You can't lock it up. We didn't have, it's too big to put in it, a lock up. So the bottom line was they just had to lock the gym before school, because they were doing it before school.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you talk about that, I work at Amazon at night in the sortation division, and we have to have our hair up, gloves on, tennis shoes. You know, your clothes can't be super baggy. You have to, you know what I mean, like you have to wear certain clothes and stuff, and, you know, so there's a lot of,
How about rules for safety? Does anybody have any safety rules they
you
have
have
to
to walk
follow?
in the green.
How about in the air conditioning business? Do you have to have rules for your students?
Lock out, tag out.
Not even that. The students, they're just supposed to show up.
That's it. You give them a bag of tools and say, here you go, fix this air conditioner?
Well, no, we take them out to the lab and teach them how to work on stuff, so they gotta have to wear safety glasses.
What happens if they don't wear safety glasses? What could happen?
What could happen?
Right.
Well, they could get something in their eye.
And what's the worst thing that could happen if you got something in your eye?
You lose your eye.
All right? Does anybody know anybody here who has a disability that goes to these big box stores?
I've seen them.
Okay. And you have?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about it?
About what, the person
Did
with
you
the
see a
disability?
disabled person go to Walmart
Uh-huh,
or any big box store?
yeah. What do you want me to tell you about that? Like
Just-
what it looks like?
Yeah, I mean, Is that, do you think that's fairly common?
Yes.
And when you see these big box stores like Lowe's or Menards or Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
is there any reason why these disabled people shouldn't go to a Walmart?
Absolutely not.
How do y'all feel about that?
ADA, American Disabilities Act, they're allowed anywhere.
Anyone ever seen a sign on any of these stores saying disabled people shouldn't come in here?
I don't see that type of stuff at like Six Flags or something.
Okay, tell us about that.
Like you see, if you're pregnant or if you have this, or if you, like you said, like disabled, whatever, don't get on this ride because this and this and this can happen, stuff like that. But I never seen that like a Walmart or Target or stuff like that.
Well, like if you have a backache, don't get on the Screaming Eagle.
Because the
Right.
screen, you could do this and this.
Gotcha. All right. Has anyone ever been in a situation, or do you have a friend or a family member who was in a situation where a settlement offer was made and you were the person you know chose to go to trial? Is that okay that someone not accept an offer because they were being treated like a beggar with a tin cup by the person who owed them some money?
You said owed them some money?
Yeah. Person thought the settlement offer is not fair, I want my day in court. Does that, anybody think there's anything wrong with that?
I mean, they don't feel this.
No, because it's personal desire, I mean, they know where they're at. They
But
know what they
sometimes it
need.
gets dragged out so long that that person can't wait anymore. You know, there's only so long that you can go without working or without having any kind of income. Where, you know, like guy that, you know, I knew eventually, I mean, after like 2 years, he couldn't hold out any longer, he had to take the settlement offer.
Is it okay with y'all that someone's exercised their constitutional right to a jury trial?
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you this. I've got a bunch of questions I'm gonna ask you, and they're all the same, but they're all a little bit different. I don't want you to read this until, here, just pass these around, please. Just take one and pass it around. Get a pen. I'm gonna read the questions. Don't look, turn it over, no cheating. No cheating. Oops, sorry. And I'm gonna go through these questions, and I want you just to number them, 1 being the best question, and 7 being the worst question. So the first thing I'm gonna do is read them, ask you just to raise your hands, one way or the other, and then you can turn it over and look at it and just rate them for me. Some people think that stores must keep their floors safe. Others think customers need to watch where they are going. Which way do you lean? If you think that stores must keep their floors safe, raise your hand. If you think customers